Ever lose your if an abusive person makes you lose your empathy, then you lose the best part of yourself, and don't let them.
I'd rather know what your opinions are rather than some fuckwit you've read. You know, you don't have opinions about anything in life. You just hang around to the coattails of a whole bunch of fucking idiots. Why the fuck would you live life like that? I mean, that is ridiculous.
So, on the one hand...
I never asked permission from anyone for anything.
On the one hand, Mitchell claims that Caitlin won't take any advice and that's her problem.
Yeah,
and on the other hand, Caitlin has no ideas of her own and only hangs on to the coattails of others.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly how you come across.
So I come across exactly as two mutually opposing...
No, not at all. You just got no fucking...
ontological
Not at all.
creatures.
You've got no opinions of your own. And you vaguely follow half-wits on the internet. I mean, what a fucking ridiculous life that is. Where's it going? Nowhere. And you won't even read a fucking document because it doesn't suit you. What's in the document doesn't suit you. You understand the document completely, and yet you won't fucking read it because it doesn't suit your opinion. And that's exactly what your psychiatrist said to me.
But, Mitchell...
Here we go. Another convoluted set of excuses.
So, this is why you know that none of this is working on me.
Doesn't matter.
It matters very much to you. You've got nothing to get off your chest.
I have, because it disappoints me, darling.
It does not disappoint you.
It does, and I think you're much better than this.
I know all of these arguments. So there are two things. Like I've got a bit of an education about manipulative speech from two sources. One of them is from growing up with a narcissist who's very similar to you. And narcissists are by no means all bad. There's lots of good things about narcissists. It's just that there's a sting in their tail and there are narcissistic injuries. And once you injure a narcissist, even just by saying, I thank you for your opinion, but I think I know a bit more about the situation that I've been in than you've glanced at for 5 seconds. Just something as simple as that a healthy person would go, fair enough, will set you off, and you've been on a fucking rant trying every single thing you can do to fucking make me feel like shit.
I want you to read the fucking document.
Now, the other side that I learned from, so I learned about that very, very late. I grew up in a very manipulative, emotionally abusive household, and my stepfather, as much of a dickhead as he is, also was victim to that. And at 33, I finally I had a gestalt moment where everything shifted when I discovered personality disorders, and I discovered that it's not that I can't get through to this person, it's that this person likes being in a position where he or she pretends to not understand and I have to run circles around them for their own entertainment. And it turned out that was shortly after I graduated with my double degree in linguistics and philosophy. And both of those gave me quite a good hybrid education on how people, lie without, lie in a more subtle way. And one of those more subtle lies is basically just sort of manipulating people by gaslighting them and putting them down and all that kind of stuff. And so something that was really interesting to me is that a lot of the manipulation tactics are simply logical fallacies. And I'm pretty gullible. I'm a gullible person, and before I understood about manipulation tactics, I certainly would get very tangled up in that kind of stuff, and I would spend a lot of time trying to say why this isn't fair or true. But one of the most life-changing fucking moments for me is reading this doctor of psychology who specialises in personality disorders, and not in the modern way where he thinks all narcissists come from a hurt in a child. So I think you do, as it does my mum. He thinks mostly, no, they think they're quite superior, and they're quite willing to do what they're doing to harm others, and they're not protecting themselves at all, they're on the attack. And he says, don't bother arguing with people who know what they're doing. You're just telling them something that they're doing deliberately. Why would you bother explaining to someone what they know they're doing, because they're doing it on purpose to make you, to make you suffer? And that's something, it's a hard lesson to learn, because I am gullible and I am an Aspie, but I do mapping, right?
Come with me for a second.
No, I'm not going to. So one of the things that you've done,
We'll do it paragraph by paragraph.
Mitchell, one of the things that you are doing is you are presenting, you are pretending that you think that I haven't read the legal bullshit that you've read. You know that I've read it, and you know that I understood it. And the only way that you can make me suffer, or at least the thing that you think you can make me suffer with, is by pretending that I don't understand the fucking bullshit that the adjudicator wrote.
Read this and tell me what it means.
Bring it over here and I'll tell you.
No. Come here, because it's the only way to do this.
What's in it for me?
What's in it for you? I hope it's some understanding.
Well, you haven't sufficiently motivated me, I'm sorry. I think the first thing you've got to do to motivate me is to make me curious, and that would be by saying, I think there's something very big that you've missed that would be very intriguing and enlightening for you.
Well, I definitely think that.
Well, I don't believe you think that.
I do.
I know you pretty well, Mitchell, and I do a lot of pattern matching, and I know you, and I know people like you, and I know there is not I would literally fucking put a gun to my head and pull the trigger, knowing that there's a bullet in there or not, depending on whether or not you're sincere. And I would pull that fucking trigger right next to my temple and know that I would live. If you want someone like me to be in your life for the reason of being your punching bag,
I don't want a punching bag.
then you've got to pick somebody else.
I don't want a punching bag. I like you as a wee girl that you just fucking annoy the shit out of me.
Oh, no, I don't.
You definitely fucking do.
Well, I do annoy the shite out of you, because I don't. I'm not even. I'm completely immune to your manipulation tactics. What's in it for me?
I'm telling you what's in it for you. You're going to learn something.
But I know that I'm not going to learn anything.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Well, that's you, mate.
No, and what's more, what is more, Mitchell, is that you don't believe that I'm going to learn anything, because you're going through a very what you wouldn't like to hear this about yourself, Mitchell, because you think of yourself in quite different terms. But what you're doing right now is just lying your fucking balls off. And I don't know how to get into the heads of people like you. Like, I just wonder why, I wonder where the payoff is for you. I really don't know where the payoff is, because I don't think you're getting any payoff. I think you're getting quite wound up because I'm not buying what you, I'm sure, believe are quite sophisticated lies. And the sophistication isn't in any intellect. It's just that you've built up the story for me that you hope I believe, in which you somehow think that I'm going to take your word for it, that I haven't read the order of tribunal that I annotated for another lawyer.
Yeah.
And to me, the payoff is so unlikely that I really, this is, I'm intelligent, but I don't know, I just don't get people, and I just really don't understand why you would put so much effort into something that is so clearly a zero chance win.
I'm going to bed soon.
That's just,
You exhaust me.
no, I don't exhaust you, Mitchell.
You do.
You're a sore loser. You're just like my mother. Every time you're gaslighting that you think is so clever, every time your long campaign of gaslighting, no matter how much effort you put into it, it just ends up being completely fruitless.
I never heard about gaslighting until you fucking appeared in my life. So just
Great, that's
phraseology.
Amazingly enlightening trivia. Thank you. I'm astounded and enlightened that you've never heard of gaslighting till you met me.
No.
And I'm sure that's a very strong argument for something for you to tuck away for later. But pretending to a person who sees right through you, that you think something about them that that person knows that you don't think. There's just this strange, I don't understand it. It's like you people, you go from having personalities to just being narcissists, and you're just like all just like, you're just like clones. And it's like, where did the fucking intelligent person go? Why does it have to, why did the intelligent person have to tune into someone who will, when I was a teenager and before I knew what abusive personalities were like, I still had her number. I still fucking had her number, and I would just say, You just pick up any weapon that you can find. You just pick up anything and throw it at me. Because that's what she'd do. She'd just pick up anything. She's just trying to hurt me. Just any kind of missile to throw at me. And that's what she's always done, and that's what she still does, and it's what you do to me, and it's what lots of people in my life have done to me. And there's a reason for that, and you're not going to have a hope in hell of persuading me it's because it's my fault. Because people who grow up in emotionally abusive households get hardwired into them a way of a sort of a belief of normality in the way of relating to people, and quite a lot of us end up being introverts. We're not actually introverts, and I really objected to the psychotherapist who told me, you know, introversion is actually a sign of a kind of a damage. I really objected to that because I feel it's a legitimate sort of part of myself. But it's not. It's because people who grow up in abusive households where everyone around them has been trained to believe the person is wrong or bad or stupid or wrong. I said wrong. They're not very nice to be around, and you just think that that's what people are like. People aren't very nice, and so you sort of try to keep to yourself quite a bit. And there's a very, very, very strong predictive, tragically predictive. It's very tragic. People who grow up in emotionally abusive households, and emotional abusers are not healthy people, because you should never want to. They don't love their children. No one who loves their child wants to hurt them. No. For no reason but to win. And that's what my mother was like. And so there's a very, you're almost guaranteed as a person who grows up in an emotionally abusive household to continue to have emotionally abusive relationships, and that can be friendships or romantic relationships, and that's been me all along. And I still have trouble picking up on them for a while sometimes, and I sometimes just try to keep that illusion going, because it can be nice to have some of that relationship, even if the overall is not very nice. And I just don't know why. Well, I do. I'm afraid I do understand why some people just want to hurt other people. Well, I do understand. I can't empathise with it. There have been occasions where I have wanted to hurt somebody, lashing out at them when they've hurt me, but I certainly struggle to.
How did that extend?
I really struggle to understand why someone would just want to do that for no reason. You know. What are you trying to do?
I want to extend this thing.
I don't know what you mean by extend.
Well, I can't
Are
fucking
you trying
read.
to open up one of the...
No, I want to see what's there. I don't want that to fucking...
Okay, can you just reel in the attitude? I think you're trying to open up a column, so you need to put your cursor up there on a line, probably up between name and type, on that borderline. Yep, there you go, and then drag. Yeah. Now remember, this is just one summary for one specific purpose, and it was an answer to specific questions asked.
I don't know, I'm just trying to find that fucking... the one we were on before.
The reasons for rehearing?
No, the tribunal sending you a letter, yeah, it's probably the wrong fucking email. I get so many of them.
Okay, there at number 14 there is something called tribunal order from adjudicator Morgan.
That could be it.
And I really would really like you to stop trying to make me believe that I haven't read it, because I don't understand how anyone can think they
What
can.
the fuck does this say?
I'm sorry, but I don't. You're not my puppeteer, Mitchell.
Well, it's
If,
like
if you want.
if you can't fucking take that through and put it in your skull and put it into reason.
Yeah, but Mitchell, that's a you've given me a conditional if I can't, but you have no basis on which to claim, because I know you don't believe it. You've got no basis on which to claim that I don't understand it.
I don't believe you don't understand it.
Yeah, so let's dispense with the bullshit.
So what the fuck to do? Why? I mean, no. The next question, and it's the same as you said. That's. I want you to come down in the morning, and I'm going to ring Neil, and I want you to talk with him and me. 'Cause he sees it the way I see it,
No,
and I don't want. I mean, that's not fair.
no,
Yes,
Mitchell.
Listen, I spoke to him.
Mitchell, I'm not even arguing with you. I'm sorry. It's not even slightly in my field of interest to argue about something with you.
Well, they're going to throw you out because that's.
Mitchell.
These are the reasons they're going to throw you out.
Mitchell, just. You have to. You look. You bet on races. Why
This
are
is fundamental
you?
law.
You know who bet it. You wouldn't bet on a horse that's dead. You are betting on a horse that has broken all four legs on the fucking track and rolled on the jockey. You are still putting your bet on that. Why would you do such a daft fucking
I
thing?
never do. I'm just saying that this is so well. This is
I
written very plainly.
Mitchell, I am very well aware of what you're claiming to believe. I just...
And how
I really just...
how do you justify your actions?
What actions?
It's fucking written down there. You try to communicate directly with the fucking adjudicator.
Why on earth would I try to explain any legal point to you?
There is no fucking legal point that could explain that. Do you think? What the fucking? Do you think I've been down in the last fucking shower?
No, but I do know that age does not guarantee wisdom, unfortunately, and this has become somewhat entertaining to me actually. After having said it's very boring, it's become entertaining because I've become quite curious about what has become you've almost got a new burst of energy to try to persuade me that what isn't true and that I clearly don't think is true and that I clearly know that you don't think is true.
You know.
Where does your stamina for
You
this
know
bullshit?
very fucking well that what you're doing here is completely fucking bats.
Mitchell.
You know that. You tell me you know something about the law and yet you fucking try to communicate directly. I mean, what kind of fucking nonsense is that?
Mitchell, I'm blushing for you, mate.
Well, you should be blushing for you.
No, I'm up here talking on the meta level, looking down on us,
For fuck's
and I'm
sake.
narrating this preposterous situation in which and I shouldn't be mean and call you a silly old man. That's actually very nasty of me.
I don't mind that. You
I
can be
don't
as
mind
nasty
it.
as you like.
No, I'm not being nasty. but I'm breaking my own rules. I don't think people should call people names about, you know, their age or anything like that. It's not. Yeah.
So you understand this, but you just think it shouldn't apply to you. It's a law, but it shouldn't apply to you.
Mitchell, could you do me a favour and look up strawman?
What?
It's one of the most well-known logical fallacies, and even people who aren't trained in philosophies generally know what a straw man is.
Oh, straw man.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
It's a very misused fucking concept. But this is nothing straw about this. This is fucking the law.
And that's a red herring.
No, it's not right here.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, well, fuck you. See, you are. That's exactly
Mitchell.
what Neil and I talked about. You cannot be out.
No, Mitchell.
And no lawyer's going to take you on.
Mitchell, mate. I'm actually starting to enjoy what must be like.
I mean, I'm cringing with this conversation.
Oh.
Cringing.
Yeah.
You speak with Neil and myself in the morning. I'll arrange a conference call right here.
Mitchell. Can you give me one good reason that I would engage with any one of your items of bullshit? Why would I follow this absolute shit?
He's your doctor.
He's someone who discharged me from his care because he left his post as a locum to go back into retirement. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that rather disqualifies him as my doctor.
Do you mean he's no longer a doctor because he's retired? How fucking ridiculous are you?
I'm ridiculous enough
Yes,
to
Jesus, you are.
see through your fucking bullshit. You called him my doctor. I said he can't be my doctor because he discharged me and retired. And then you thought I wouldn't notice that you changed it from being my doctor to a doctor.
I didn't fucking think about that. I'm going to bed.
Yes, it's funny how
I'm tired.
So tired.
It happens.
It's very tiring when people just won't be gaslit by absolute fundamental fucking pieces of bullshit. So, give me 3 knowledge nuggets to take away. You tell me 3 things that I don't know. Because you're trying to help me, right? You're trying to help me. What are 3 things that I don't know?
That every time you fucking turn a corner, you just put yourself in a hole.
Okay, that's a fascinating hypothesis.
It's not a hypothesis.
How
It's what you fucking do. And I can't help with that.
What sort of hole have I put myself in?
Well, let's go and read that document and just understand it if you can.
So can you give me a solid... Because this is what a scientist does, and you claim to be a scientist, and you fucking have the least scientific fucking brain I've ever come across.
Oh, well. That's fucking lucky for you.
What on earth would you have me believe? Because you know that I know that you're fucking lying.
Oh, yeah. Good night.
You claim to believe things that you plainly do not. So what's your best last shot at persuading me that I haven't read that fucking order of tribunal? What's your best shot of persuading me that I haven't read it? Because you've got to be a pretty good fucking liar to persuade someone to believe something that they themselves haven't or have done, because that involves a sort of a mind trickery. And I thought that was previously I thought that was a little bit out of your scope of talents. I am still vulnerable and gullible enough to, well, I'm vulnerable enough to still cling to some sources of very unlikely hope. A little bit like someone starving in the desert would sort of grab at a skinny beetle for a little bit of meat, hoping that it won't be he won't be poisoned. And I also, I do pattern matching, so that's how I know about people as well as I do. And it's because abusive people have, when they are under pressure, and the pressure that abusive people are under is when their ego is under attack. And so when your ego is under attack, all of you lot, you just tune into the same person. And so that pattern matching is just a piece of cake. I know exactly what you're going to do next. I always know, Mitchell, I always know what you're going to do next, because I grew up with that. I always know. So you and my mum are different as chalk and cheese, but when you're inspired to try to take me down, you are just the same person. That's what abusers are like. There is not a multiple different kind of abusive personality, because the ways to abuse people are all very similar, and so the beliefs that you purport to believe all end up just mapping onto, it just ends up sort of mapping onto the same character trait. And there's a very obvious reason for that. It's because human beings have ultimately the same vulnerability psychologically and socially. And so, abusive people aren't any more clever than anybody else's, but they use their knowledge about humans. They stash it away so they know how to, use someone's vulnerabilities against them when they feel that they need to, either for their own entertainment or for defending an ego wound, depending on what kind of abuser they are, whether a vulnerable or a powerful abuser. And humans are very similar in that we all.
Good night, Caitlin.
No,
I'm tired. I want to listen to
you're
you
not.
rambling on.
You're not tired. You are just a sore loser. My mum's exactly the same. All abusers do this when they finally realise that they can't.
I have to start work in the morning, unlike yourself.
My heart bleeds. I'll donate to the charity that supports you. The thing that children of abusive parents, and it's not mumbo jumbo.
My heart bleeds for them.
Yeah, you're doing this kind of mirroring thing, and I don't know if you're doing it on purpose or accidentally, but I suspect it's accidentally, because I'm hitting my target on you and you feel ouchy, and so you try that again on me. But the thing is that I'm doing it to you because I'm telling you that your abuse is not fucking working on me, and I'm entitled to do that because I'm not coming for you.
Good night.
I'm defending myself against you. And you can say goodnight as often as you like, but you have been ripping into me viciously, and the absolute bullshit bases for which you rip into me don't, just the fact that none of it works on me doesn't mean that I can ignore the fact that you really intend to very badly wound me in very, very serious ways when I'm already very, very wounded. And my mother does that too, and I had a brief reconciliation with her lately because I was so desperate. And I've had to sort of block her again because she moves into the same kind of stuff that you do. And I learn a lot about people, and as much as I know about abusive people and their tactics, I don't know if maybe there's something in that person that really does care about me. And I